I'm Murray, the co-founder and CEO of Myriad. I will be shocked if you can find something or someone more interesting and more inspirational than our next speaker. He is one of the most interesting and truly inspirational people I've ever come across, and I couldn't possibly do justice to it, so I'm just going to say, could we please give a very warm welcome to my dear friend, the chairman, Maha Sinnathamby.
Friends, let me acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we gather, their elders, past and present and future, and the contribution they make to this great country. I want to congratulate those who have conceived this impressive conference and also those who have worked tirelessly to bring Myriad to life. I pay tribute to the Queensland government who has produced this landmark event that aims to bring global thought leaders, tech stars, investors and entrepreneurs to look at where their interests overlap to take it to the world. In particular, I'd like to acknowledge also the Minister Liane Enoch, Maha Sinnathamby, Myriad founders Murray Galbraith, Martin Talveri, Terry Carney, Mike Lyons, Mira Honan and Jacob Rahl. Friends, 25 years ago, my vision was to take a 2,860 hectares parcel of unwanted land, about 28 km from Brisbane CBD, to turn it into Australia's newest and most innovative city. This is one of our top innovations that has happened in this country in the last 25 years. There have been numerous challenges and hurdles along the way. I'll bring this up later. But today, after an expenditure of over 13.6 billion and being 20% developed, the Queensland government has recognized this project as a multi-billion-dollar contributor to the Queensland economy. The decision to privately build a unique, innovative city was a hard one. Everyone, council, the state government, senior bureaucrats, the business community, everyone thought I was mad. Even my wife thought I was mad. But everything in me said, we had one chance to do it and get it right. Are we going to do it? Friends, in life, as you all know, if you want to do something that has not been done before, but it is right and legal, and it needs the permission of some entity to do it, they will often say, no, 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 it cannot be done. It has not been done before, and you will fail. Here is where I ask you to have that unlimited faith in yourself, especially in your field of disruption. In the history of mankind, friends, if any motive power has been more potent than another in the lives of all great men and women, it is that they had faith in themselves. Born with the consciousness that they are to be great, they became great. And you are going to be great. In going forward, we deliberately planned this city on three cornerstones: education, health and IT. In education, 44.6% of our population are in one form of learning or the other, the highest in the country. In health, we have 52 hectares totally devoted to health in its entirety. 65, you just compare this, 65% of the Brisbane CBD's buildings all devoted to health. That's what's happening here. The project is estimated to cost 6.4 billion. It is underway, and it will employ about 19,000 staff. In technology, which is where most of you would be interested, and perhaps most importantly for the future of Greater Springfield, we have created and launched Idea Cities, which is innovation, design, entrepreneurship and arts. A precinct on 46 hectares which adjoins both Health City and Education City. Idea City is a reimaging of the technology park of the past. It will be a truly collaborative precinct where technology, research, creativity and design collide to create an innovative and desirable place to live and work. As you all know, there is tremendous disruption going on in education, health and IT. These three cornerstones, being part of a 120-hectare precinct, brings huge challenges for all of you to design this precinct in Australia's newest city. Friends, when this land came on the market, I had no money. You may not believe it. This land was bought without any money. This in itself is being innovative. But having a pure determination, a strong sense of self-belief and faith. If anyone would like to know how to build a city with no money, you need to read my book to experience the pain, the numerous hurdles, and endure to enjoy success. I would just like to give you a little bit about my background, as I strongly feel it is my childhood that has greatly influenced who I am today. I grew in abject poverty in a small village in Malaysia with very little running water and no electricity. I studied under a kerosene lamp. I was not a naturally gifted student. What I did, however, was determined parents who were committed to see me succeed. Another thing I had in abundance was tremendous hardship and innumerable failures, and I believe that combination is gold. I have failed and failed and failed in life, but one thing that I have learned in life is failure is a great teacher. After finishing high school, I came to Australia and I enrolled in engineering at the University of New South Wales. A 4-year course took 6 years. I failed my first year and I failed my second year. When I failed my second year, I wrote to my parents and I said, "Sorry, I have left you down." I was more sorry for them than me. And I had a reply back, "Son, just keep going. Don't give up. The darkest night brings the brightest dawn." Please think of it. We will all have dark nights in our life. You'll all have. It may come in the form of an ill health, or financial failure, or someone close to you that has let you down. It can come in many forms. But when it comes, say to yourself, tomorrow the sun will come. Please think of it. And one thing I learned out of my failure is to be resilient and relentless and having a never, never give up attitude. Just keep going. Friends, if I'm here today and if I can motivate one or even two of you, I would feel very happy that I've done something right today. I very strongly believe success is your birthright. And to be truly successful in an outstanding way, you have to dedicate yourself totally to your goal. Think about this day and night. You are in the disruptive game. Think about it day and night. You will crack it. After graduating, I went back to Malaysia and worked on World Bank and Asian Development Bank projects. It was a wonderful time I had for 5 years. One day the boss called me in and he said, "We want you to go and head up our office in Indonesia." And I said to him, "Please give me 24 hours. I saw my wife. I discussed it. The next day I went and tendered my resignation. He was shocked. A month later, I had moved up to Western Australia to start a new home. The country was in a deep recession, high unemployment. I wrote to 42 organizations. They did not even reply me for a job. I went to the Commonwealth Unemployment Service and kept on ringing them. They said, "Don't ring me. Join the dole queue." Dressed in a suit and tie, I joined the dole queue, only to see about 30 chaps in front of me in shorts and thongs and sleeveless shirts. The queue was moving slowly. And after a few minutes, I said, this is not where I belong. I will not take money and demean myself for work that I have not done. So I walked out of the queue, friends, and cried like a child took a taxi home. And after a week, I became a real estate agent. When one door closes, something else opens. That's the best thing that happened to me. And for the first time, I worked out that a degree in civil engineering was not a passport to success. This is when I met a Swedish migrant, and he was walking around unemployed. And I said to him, what are you doing? And he said, nothing. He said, but I've got a great idea. I said, what is it? He said, I've got this ruler. One side is metric and the other side is imperial. Australia had just gone metric. We could sell this and make a fortune. So we bought 2,000 of it. And when we were not selling real estate, we were out there from one hardware shop to the other hardware shop trying to sell it. Forget being a civil engineer. One day I sold 13. I went home to my wife and I said, I've sold 13 and I've conquered the world. And she said, have you made any money? I said, not much. Friends, this went on for a while until I had a letter from the Perth Metropolitan Water Board to be employed as a civil engineer. My wife looked at me and she said, you've got 5 mouths to feed. Please take it. I took it, worked for 4.5 years with the water board, came out, resigned, came out as a property developer and a builder with a fellow civil engineer with a few $1,000s. Friends, we worked and worked and worked. We started to do houses, shopping centers, major office blocks. Everything we touched went gold. After 5 years, our balance sheet was $7.5 million, $1982. Multiply that by 10. The financiers, accountants all recommended that we go public. So we went public to raise $14 million to list on the stock exchange. We raised the $14 million after a lot of hardships, only to find there was a technical fault and we had to return that money back. I lost my empire owing $32 million. And spent the next 2 years trying to sort that debt, paid off the debt. And there was a few dollars, and the last of the monies were brought to an end by the creditors' meeting. And I had unanimous support from all my financiers and the taxation office. I left the creditors' meeting physically and emotionally and mentally drained. The only thing I had was a wife and 4 children. We had to start again, friends. We had to start again. When you fail, we'll all fail sometimes or the other, but you pick your bags and keep going. Remember, the darkest night brings the brightest day. Then I had a new business partner who joined me in 1984. And I said to Bob Sharpless, I said, what do you have, Bob? He said, I've got a few $1,000s and a wife. And he said, what do you have? I said, I've got a wife and 4 children. But I'm a negative millionaire, Bob. And he said, what the dickens is that? He said, it's a fellow who owes millions more than what he's worth. He said, that's a new one. Friends, we came across the Nullarbor Plain. We started frugally with a few $1,000s. After 4.5 years, we had made $5 million. And I said, there you are, Bob. I said to you, we will make and we'll be millionaires. Within 2 years, we lost most of it. We only had about $200,000 to keep going. And that's when this project came, the Springfield. We had no money. That $200,000 was meant to keep us alive. We contracted to buy it. All the major companies did not want to buy it, friends. It was in an area that was economically and socially very depressed. High unemployment, high crime rate. The state prison was 8 minutes away. The state mental asylum was 5 minutes away. It needed a $200 million freeway to open up this land. 1/3 of it was designated mining. It had all the problems in the world, but I contracted. It was only there in the market for $8 million. After having contracted, I grabbed hold of one of the leading planners in this country and I said to him, Barry, tell me what we can do. He looked very sorry for me. He looked very gloomy. I said, what's wrong? He said, I don't know, there's not much of a deal here. But I said, go back, think of it, come back to me in 15 days, which he did. He was smiling from year to year. And he said, I've got the right answer. You got an as of right approval to chop it up into 40-acre parcels and make $12 million. I looked at him, he looked at me, and I said to him, I'm not going to do it. He said something to himself. I think he must have said I was mad. I said, that's not me. I'm going to build a city. Friends, this is something that you have to have in yourself, something that you believe. And here I ask you to think of it. Those of us who are not sculptors, we look at a rock and we see a rock. This is very applicable to you chaps who are trying to disrupt the society. We look at a rock and we see a rock. But a sculptor looks at a rock and he or she sees a very beautiful face in it. And they go out to try and bring that face out. That face is already in the rock. So we saw this forest and the forest was calling to me and it said, bring me out, I'm a new city. That was a challenge. You will have this in your life. You will have a rock that stares at you one day and says, bring me out. Please take this. When I said to seek out the approval, the state government did not want to see me. The council did not want to see me. And we kept on pursuing them. And after a while, they reluctantly said to us, there has never been a city other than Canberra built in this country. And that the only instrument for that is 80 years old. And if you do want to build a city, you have to have a validating legislation and an act of parliament. Many would have given up. I think they thought that we would give up. But we followed up on this. And friends, I'm cutting up the story very short. After 4.5 years, it went to Parliament. We have 89 parliamentarians here. And on that night, they all decided to come because the decision was a very important one for the country. They discussed it for 2 hours. And all hands went up. And for the first time, a city was approved in this country other than Canberra. Unanimous approval beyond party politics. We started off by building the houses and we did very well for the first 4 years. Then the market crashed. We could not meet our interest rates for about 15 months. The banks called my partner and I and said, chaps, we've had enough of this. We give you 30 days to pay up the bill. This was my second trip to hell. Now you know why I'm this color. I've been burnt and burnt and burnt. We eventually sorted out the bankers and everything was going on well, until we had to fund a $200 million freeway. And the only person who could give approval for this was the Premier of the state, and he did not want to see me. The only way to see him was get into the plane when he was traveling overseas and lock him up. And the day before I went, I said to the protocol officer, "Can I sit next to him?" And he said, "Is your name Mrs. Beatty?" The Premier's name was Beatty. I said, "No, I can change it if you want to." But chaps, Peter Beatty did see me. I'm trying to cut the story short. I haven't got much time. But that freeway did happen. It did happen. Springfield is a leading example of innovative and disruptive thinking. Please think of it. It's disruptive thinking against all the odds. We are creating a new city in this country. Similarly, you think of what you can do in our Idea City precinct on 46 hectares. Please think of it. There's a great opportunity there. As I am about to conclude, I owe you all no apologies if I have disrupted your mind. In fact, I'm delighted. I'm asking you to think really big and have the courage and audacity to change the world we live to a brave new world, and you prosper out of this. Think of this as a challenge to disrupt technology in this city. Here at Myriad, we have established a pop-up lab in the graffiti room. This is a unique opportunity for you to demonstrate some futuristic thinking and co-design a blueprint for Idea City to make your innovative ideas come to life. Innovation, design, entrepreneurship, and the arts are unfolding right at your doorstep. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity. In conclusion, friends, and I say that we live in the greatest country on earth. A country that is 2/3 the size of China and India combined in land area. India and China has a population of 2.5 billion. We have 23 million. 1% of the population of India and China sitting on this vast continent with unlimited resources, great climate, a democratic country, unlimited resources. What else do you want? What else do you want? You have all this and more. Think of it. You are the creator of your own destiny, as you have the power, intellect, and ability to make a change for yourself. And you can turn this world into a brave new world. You have the chance to do it. And as you think, so you become. So think big and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
We are building Australia's largest city. This is absolute dedication, commitment, and passion. You drive it day in and day out. Nation building is about showing the world that in building Australia's largest city, that it is a true valued society, it's a true valued community where there is the home for everyone and get value out of each other. That is what human capital is. There are 3 pillars to this project. There's education. Education is the currency of the future. Education is the only currency that can be cashed anywhere in the world. 44.6% of our resident population are in one form of learning or the other, which is very, very high in this country. The second is health. Health in all its entirety. Human health care is fundamentally very important. The third is IT. As you know, the world is changing very rapidly with IT and technology. Technology is driving the world. We are making sure we are on the leading edge of digital technology for this project. It's beyond me now. It's being driven by organizations, by public companies who have a strong vested interest to drive this project to success. And every time I go and I see projects happening, and I see cranes on the skyline, and I see workers working, and everybody having fun and creating something, it really gives you a tremendous joy. In building a city of the size of Greater Springfield, you need a tremendous amount of infrastructure. The first and foremost is transport. So there are major arterial roads coming into the project. We've got a $1.2 billion railway line that comes right from Brisbane to Springfield. Beyond that, there is a human infrastructure. That's the schools, the gardens, the other facilities, the shopping, etc. that forms part of the infrastructure. We are driving this. This is a mammoth project. We want this to be a prosperous community. And for that, we want small businesses, mom and dad operations. We want medium businesses. We want large operations. So it caters for all levels of our society. Australia is a multicultural society. I say that the face of Australia is changing every day. As we get more and more migrants coming up here, the face is getting more and more beautiful. There is cultural exchanges. Everyone becomes richer by interacting with various cultures. It is well on track, but naturally, as far as I'm concerned, I would like it to move faster and faster. Life is limitless. A project is limitless. You can keep on driving and driving and driving because there is no limit to what you can do. Think beyond your limitations and go for the success. Because chase the success, money will follow.